Hey Carl, yeah, Anna from AAP. Obviously a pretty big game coming up in terms of the quality of opposition and where you sit in the finals. How are you approaching this one?
As we've started from the start, we want to build from each game, and it's the same. I think we made good improvements in the Wellington game, and we're hoping to make more improvements with our fitness and the way that we want to play into the Perth game. As you said, it's every game that we're playing, we knew it was going to be a tough game, so we're just building into this game, and hopefully we can get the 3 points.
Anna, are you still going? Next question?
Yeah, I didn't know if you were throwing to someone else.
No, you're all good.
Okay, no worries. Sorry about that. Obviously, you look at how the team's going and the position in the table and some of the results, I guess, before your tenure as well. Probably would be pretty keen to get a big scalp. There haven't been too many of them in your season so far. I guess how important is it to, I guess, really step up to the plate with how tight things are against some really good quality opposition?
We knew that coming in at the start with the 5 games that we had against the top 5 teams. So we knew that we had to get off to a good start away to Brisbane, which we did, and we built on that against Wellington, getting the point against Wellington. It was disappointing that we didn't get the 3 points there. And, as I said, we're building from game to game, and tomorrow night against Perth, again, we expect another improvement in our performance. Defensively, we've been strong in both games. And our link-up play is improving. The first 45 minutes against Wellington was very good. We controlled the game. We just died off a little bit in the second half, and sort of some of our older habits sort of creeped in a little bit. So we're, as I said, just building our performances from game to game.
And you mentioned being strong and finishing well. Perth, we know under Popper, are one of the fittest and hardest running teams in the competition. What do you have to get right against them? Is it striking hard and early, or is it keeping in touch with them the whole game? What do you have to get right?
Look, we just have to stick. We've definitely got a good game plan that we believe in against Perth. So we just have to be disciplined enough through the game and stay in the game, as you said, and take our opportunities when they come. We'll definitely get opportunities with the quality of attacking players that we've got. Christian has scored in the last 2 games, and Riley's getting better every game. He's when we look at his numbers, they're improving every game. So we're expecting a big game from Riley on tomorrow night.
All done, Anna?
Yeah, pass it over.
Thank you. I'll pass it over to Lucas at 7.
Hey Carl, how you going?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's good. So you seemed a bit more solid defensively, a bit more structured, especially in the first half on the weekend, but only ended up with a point. And the week before, we conceded a lot more chances. So how are you sort of taking what happened against Wellington and going to improve against Perth?
As I said, the first 45 minutes against Wellington, I thought we played some really good football. Second half, we started well, and then after we scored, we sort of struggled a little bit. We couldn't keep the ball, and our defensive line was just a little bit too deep. And they were deep because we weren't keeping the ball. So that was the main issue that we had. So we've addressed that this week on the training track. So it's important that and at times, we had the young boy playing in the middle of the park, so it's another game for him, so he'll build on that. And I thought his performance against Wellington was good, so we expect Harris to give us a little bit more in the middle of the park and hopefully control a little bit more in that second half.
With Western United having a couple games in hand on you, are you sort of thinking that now this is a must-win game against Perth, especially seeing you got Sydney and Melbourne City to the top sides come?
Yeah, look, we knew coming in that we had the 5 top teams. We're not worried about what any of the other teams are doing. We're just, as I said, it was important that we got off to a good start against Brisbane and then build from that. And we knew that we had to, out of the 5 games, we have to win 3 to 4 of those games. So we can't afford to have another slip-up. We have to win tomorrow night to give ourselves the best chance. We don't want to rely on other teams, we just want to rely on ourselves.
No fresh injury concerns then? Just Al Hassan still not ready?
Yeah. So we're going in, Al Hassan, he'll be ready for the next game against Sydney. So everyone is fit, and they're all fighting for a position in the starting 11.
And finally, Paul is Izzo spoke the other day to us about how he feels like the players are sort of puppets for the FFA as they look to finish the season. Now it's come out that it looks like pay cuts might be a case again, even more so for next season. What is your reaction to that? And does it make it harder for you as a coach knowing that the players have this on their mind?
Yeah, it's difficult times for the players. It's difficult times for everyone in these conditions that we're in. And I've spoke to the players about that. Let's just focus on finishing this season. We don't know what's going to happen next season. There's a lot of talk about what's going to happen, but we don't know. Let's just all we got control of at the moment is the way that we play. And you know, we need to put on a good show and show a good fight so our supporters stay behind us and our sponsors stay behind us and come back to us for the next season. And you know, that's all we're about at the moment, putting on good performances to show that our supporters that we're a good side, and we need that support from our supporters and sponsors.
Thanks, Carl. Move on to the next one now.
Thanks, Lucas. Pass it over to Will Crouch, Channel 9.
Hey, Carl. Thanks for chatting, mate. Just I'd like to hear your thoughts. Is there much nervousness from your end and in the camp around, I guess, this latest kind of the couple of COVID clusters near where you are? Do you have much nervousness about that?
No, look, we've got pretty strict protocols around what we do, and even in the hotel on what we're doing and how we look after ourselves. Our COVID office is pretty tough on that. So we know that we've been good with our hygiene and our distancing. So there's none of the players feel stressed about that at all. So we've changed hotels again. So I think that's 4 hotels in 11 days, which is good for a change at times. So no, they're happy here. We've got plenty of room outside here that we can move around. So that's the important thing, that we can get fresh air and move about freely.
4 hotels in 11 days. You must feel like you have to be on your toes a little bit, ready to move at any moment.
Yeah, it's. I'm not unpacking everything out of my suitcase this time. I took everything out in the last time, but this time I'm only going half and half.
Excellent. Thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Will. Josh at 10.
Yeah, hi, Carl. The question must be asked, and Paul brought this up the other day, what are all the teams doing in Sydney?
Not sure what the other teams are doing. I know they're all in different hotels spread around Sydney. As I said, we're only really focusing on what we're doing, and we're making sure our players stay in good spirits. We try to organise different activities for them in the hotel. So, and as I said, all the way along, our playing group is very strong, and they all like each other and get on very well. So, in that regard, we're very, very good.
Yeah, sorry, my mistake on the wording. I mean, why are all the games scheduled in a place that the AFL and most other major sporting codes have identified as the next sort of most likely place for a COVID outbreak? And given that you've had to move from 4 hotels in 11 days, why do you think that the FFA have started to put all games where they are?
Well, I think that's above my pay grade, that question, to give you an answer on that. I can give you, look, Sydney was always, when the hub was going to be in place, it was always between Sydney and I think it was Queensland, and FFA have decided it was going to be logistically better to have it in Sydney. As I said, all the teams are in their own hotels and they have their COVID plans in place. So at the moment, I don't see there's too much of an issue.
Is there, Paul the other day said that nearly the whole playing group had questioned why they were in Sydney. Does the group have confidence that the season plus finals will be able to be finished in New South Wales?
Yeah, most definitely. I think New South Wales, their numbers that they're getting every day, they're not high numbers. For a state with a huge population. So I'm not worried about it, and we talk a lot with the players about it. So they're comfortable. They're happy. They're playing football. They're getting the games out the way. So that's all they want to do.
How are you finding? It's your first time in this role, and it's somewhat an audition for a senior coaching role for the next season. All the added elements must make it hard to focus on what is your first time in a senior coaching role.
No, look, I keep repeating myself. We come into this knowing what we were coming into with the 4 weeks training, and our goal since the beginning has to put in good performances, show our supporters and our sponsors that we're a team that's worth supporting and getting behind us. And I think our performances so far have done that, and we're looking to build on that for tomorrow night's performance against Perth.
All done, Josh?
How well do you think...
Sorry?
Sorry. How well do you think perhaps United is placed if there are further restraints on salary caps next year, given the age profile of the team and the strong amount of locally based players? How well do you think the club is poised going forward compared to some other teams who are maybe more reliant on foreign players or players on bigger money?
I can't really speculate for other teams. I can say about Adelaide, we're fortunate that we've got a majority of our squad signed up for the next season. As you said, a lot of them are local players, which means they have a bit more heart for the club, which is good. So, that's the direction the club want to go into. They want to be a South Australian club for all of the people in South Australia.
Great. Sounds like your internet's going. Thanks, Carl.
No worries, thank you.
So moving on to Marco.
Yeah, g'day, Carl. I just wanted to clarify. When you say four hotels in like 11 days, that includes your one in Queensland, which
yes.
played the Raw?
Yes, that's correct, yeah. So we've been away 11 days now. So we left Adelaide 11 days ago. So we had to stay up in Brisbane. Then when we first came to Sydney, they put us in at Darling Harbour. Then we've moved to Potts Point, and now we're moved out to Baulkham Hills.
Yeah, so where you are now, that was where the 3 Melbourne teams were for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, all right. Hey, mate, just on Paul Izzo, his form's been really good, obviously, and, we've seen a couple of keepers in recent times leave the A-League to test themselves overseas. Are you confident that the club can keep him, long term?
Look, I suppose every professional footballer's dream is to play at the highest level that they can, and we want players that want to achieve more. We want them to go on to bigger and better things, and that's what the club's wants to do. Produce South Australian players and give them an opportunity to make that next step up to the next level. So if Paul keeps going the way that he is, he would have the blessing, not just of myself, he would have the blessing of the whole club, I would say, if he could move on and play at a higher level. That's what we want for all of our players, is to improve.
He seems to have matured a bit off the field as well. He was talking about that the other day. Have you seen that, and why do you think there's been that change?
As you say, Paul's 25 now, and for goalkeepers, they take a little bit longer normally before they hit their peak, and he's coming into his peak now. And he's a great lad, has always been. I remember meeting Paul when he was a 15-year-old young goalkeeper. His focus now is excellent. And I'm not saying it wasn't before, but as I say, he's just starting to mature more. He's still the same larrikin around the change room. That hasn't changed. So he's much probably the loudest one in our change room, which is good for a goalkeeper. So he needs that communication with a playing group. So no, I take my hat off to him. His work rate is fantastic. He works extremely hard, and Eugene is doing a fantastic job with him.